Hello, Framework for the Family audience, friends. This is Framework for the Family. I'm Bomani Tyhimba here along with my co-host Zeke Adams,
What's up?
Ryan Howard. Now, last time we were talking about being happy single.
Yeah, but we're gonna hit that subscribe button.
Yes, right. Before we jump into our topic for the day, that's right. We want to hit that subscribe button.
Yes.
Hit that like button.
Hit the like.
Give us some comments. We enjoy you tuning in to us, and we're thankful for the audience that we have, and thank you for the feedback that we've been getting.
Yes, thank you so much for giving us the feedback. It's definitely a great conversation piece, the things that we're talking about, and thank you all for engaging and leaving comments. We're gonna address some of those comments later down on the podcast of what you guys are saying.
Yeah. So last time we talked about being happily single, and said, so what's the next, I guess, progression that you could go into?
It's got to be dating, right?
It's got to be dating.
Happily dating.
So, well, how about dating
Okay.
while you're happily single?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Dating
I
while
agree.
you're happily single.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree
because
with that.
maybe you'll get happily dating. You never want to go to the next step.
Yeah.
So our topic today is dating while happily single.
Okay.
Where do we go?
Well, we were just talking about, the values of having a self-esteem, being able to look at yourself and see the qualities in yourself and what God is asking you to be, or to be as a female or a male. And from what Brian was saying in the last podcast, that you actually pick someone based upon the values for yourself. Am I saying that?
Right. In alignment with you.
In alignment with who you are, your core, right? Now, I have brought up, what about, someone who's made a mistake, someone who wasn't happily single.
You was happily single.
Yeah,
Okay.
someone that had more of the value of being alone in dating compared to happily single in dating. Okay, so the person who's alone in dating gets a divorce. Do they have an opportunity to be happily single now after a divorce?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Right. They get a chance to reset.
Yeah, that was my word. That was
They
it.
get a
That was
chance to
it.
reset.
Yes.
Learn from their mistakes, reevaluate how they got to that point. And if you really do some honest self-analysis, you'll probably look at your hands and you'll say, my hands are dirty. We're dirty, and they probably still are dirty. And that's just a way, that's just something I say that to show that when you're honest with yourself, you'll be able to look back over your marriage situation and see the mistakes that you made. Okay, regardless of what your spouse did, there were some things that you did.
True that.
So as we talk about dating while happily single, if you've been divorced and now you're back into the single arena, single status, you should do some self-analysis. Hey, what went wrong with my marriage? Okay, and how can I better myself in preparation, particularly if you want to be married again, in preparation for looking for someone, dating someone who is spouse material.
Okay.
So you want to take that time to be do some self-analysis.
Right. Now, I'm going to say to the audience, this is not geared towards you getting a divorce and coming up with this type of. If you're married, the framework for the family is for you to focus on your marriage. Now, if you're divorced and you made I would say divorce, you're making a bad decision. I mean, like you just said, it's two. Both hands are dirty. This is catered to people who are divorced. There is a second chance to be happily single, to know who you are, to get structure, to get a word from God, from the word, and for you to strengthen yourself as a happily single person. Therefore, it betters you to be a happily single and dating. So okay, so that type of a person has a second chance.
That person has a second chance, and actually, let's hold that discussion for a little bit later. Later.
Okay.
Only from the standpoint of we started, framing how you want to be happily single.
Happily single.
If we already are happily single. Okay.
Happily single.
We're
True
happily
single
single.
person.
Okay.
True single person has not been married. And then let's talk about the natural, quote unquote, the natural progression is when you come of age and you're securing yourself, you're going to start wanting to date. Whether it's date just to be around because we're relational beings, but at some point in time, we want to move from the dating to the marriage. To marriage. So natural progression. We've been happily single, now we're happily single and dating. Let's focus on there for ones who have never been married.
Okay.
And then later on, when we've crossed over that
I'm with you.
bridge,
Right.
then we'll talk about life after divorce.
Can I?
Yes.
You know me, I like to muddy the waters just a little bit.
Yeah, you're muddy water.
But can we just define dating for a minute? What is dating?
I'm with him.
Okay. Define it.
Okay, so
it sounds like you got a definition.
No, I mean I'm honestly I have some ideas, but
okay.
I'm looking here.
Me and him on the same page because I was going to ask the same question. Okay, because you got to look at you're happily single and dating.
Okay, happily single and dating.
What is that person looking for? Okay. Obviously, we went over structuring yourself. Mental health. We went over self-esteem, understanding who you are, what you want. Now, and what are you wanting out of a person based upon who you are? How does that dating look like? Are you looking for someone that might have money?
Okay.
Are you looking for someone that is successful in their own?
Okay.
Are you looking for someone that is a leader, as from a woman standpoint point of view? And I would say even from a man point of view nowadays. What does dating look like? Man, what does that look like when it comes to stepping outside into a pool of single people and saying, out of all these people, because I am happily single, this right here is what I'm looking for.
Well, let's do
what does that look like?
I think again, this word is going to come back. I think there's age appropriateness to each situation. But if we start early as possible for just a minute. Let's say you went straight to college out of high school. You did a 4-year degree. You 22 now, somewhere in that age range.
22, 23.
What if a 22-year-old was going to start dating? What should they be looking for? Should they not be dating? What would they be looking for at their age? Because it's going to be different than a 40-year-old who not divorced but truly single, but totally different than a 22-year-old.
So you're saying age applies to this
discussion? Age appropriateness is definitely in play.
Let's say 22 years. That's a long time ago for me.
I mean, just think, as a young person with no experience, your first foot into dating, what should you be doing?
I think you, first of all, I would say it's not that hard. I think that if you're 22 years old, you're in college, you're looking for someone. I think that some people get married at the age of 23 when they're having kids and whatnot. I believe that a person at that age is looking for someone that has qualities. Definitely a man looking for a woman. I feel that they are going to enhance, when you're going and looking for something at that age, you want someone that is going to enhance who you are. Okay? I'll go back. Enhance. That means that it's going to make you a better person. They're going to give you quality time. They're going to give you things that you want and your desires as a 23-year-old person, they're going to enhance all of that. They're going to make you feel good about yourself and you feeling good about yourself, and hopefully that your return of making them feel good about themselves. Now, when someone is looking for someone, okay, they have to be able to do the exact same thing, enhance someone else's life as well. So if I'm looking for someone, I'm looking for someone that is going to enhance me, make me be a better person, and I'm going to make them be a better person. I think, and then continually having the character to be able to continue to do that. That is a person that I would be looking for if I was dating. If I was 20-something years old, I'm like, you know what? Is this consistent? You know, I'll be looking at consistency. I'll be looking at dependability. I'll be looking at Christianity. I'll be looking at development, values. Okay. Now I'm
some must-haves.
Must-haves. I'm saying that now at this age.
No, this is good. No, I'm so glad you're saying this.
If you ask me, if I was 22, I'd be like, I don't know, you know. But I'm saying this is what a 23-year-old supposed to be. You know, I would think that they would be looking for this if they were happily.
They have to be taught that. But yeah. But so let me ask this. So at that age, at the age of, let's say, 22, is character and what should we say, life direction, these kind of somewhat intangible traits, are those more important than, as we get older and as we get later on in life, things like money and what you have achieved start to come into play? But as you're a young person, these things really, are they a factor? Should they be a factor? Or is it more of these intangibles like character, your life's direction, these kind of...
You're starting at the age of 20, at the age of 23, I'm going to say 23, you're starting a new life with someone, okay? It's not like a 30-year-old. I think you made it more appropriate of saying we need to put an age limit on this.
Yeah.
Because you're starting your life with that person. And in starting your life with that person, that person who they need to bring to the table something that you could get on the road with and grow with. If you get a person that's, let's say you're dating someone the same age as you, you're both 20 and in early 20s, and they're just circling around life and their failure to fly and job opportunities keep flying by. They're scared to do things or not really wanting to succeed with you, and you're trying to coach them the whole way. You're in a bad situation. Okay, at that young age.
Okay, yeah.
You want someone that is going to be geared towards your gear. Okay, just like you said, you know, if you see someone who's an outdoorsy person, you're not an outdoorsy person. You know, it's not gonna work for me. You know, you'll be pushing me in areas I don't want to be outside, bugs and stuff like that.
Right.
That's not my core. You know, and she said, well, I need to change. I don't want to change. This is just who I am. You could be that at the age of 23. So in understanding what a 23 and up person is looking for is based upon growing with someone. The initiation of connection, you know, falling and in love and understanding each other and all the feel good feelings and all that flying around, you still need to make sure that that person is going to grow with you. And that's in the dating arena. I am a healthy single dating. And, you know, while I'm dating, is this something that helps and creates me to be a better person? Do I feel comfortable with this person that they're growing because I'm healthy? Are they healthy? And let me analyze this in the dating arena. The dating arena.
I got a question now. Are there any limits on dating? What you can and can't do, should and should not do?
Oh man, come on, man.
No, seriously. No. I mean, because and this is why I asked you to define dating. And I'm not trying to be funny or make light of this situation. I think a lot of people, and this is why we talk about happily dating. Dating is supposed to be a temporary situation. You're not supposed to be like single, I mean, we had discussed this before, but it's not permanent situation.
No.
And you shouldn't treat it like one. See, when you marry,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say this, there's certain privileges and everything that come along with being married.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to burn through those privileges in a temporary situation?
Well,
You see, and I'm not trying to be funny about it. I'm just really.
I think when it's dating and you're, the premise is you're happily single, meaning you know who you are.
Right.
You understand your self-esteem. You have a relationship with God. You're secure in yourself, and you enter into the dating arena. You need to find where you are in this dating arena. Am I dating for fun right now, with not a view towards marriage, not a view towards finding companionship?
That's okay.
Or because that's a different mindset, and you want to do things different from if you're in a dating arena looking for a spouse. You got the mindsets are totally different.
You said that better than I could, so thank you.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
If you are looking for a spouse,
Mm-hmm.
you should know what it is you're looking for.
And you're going to go about the whole dating process
And
in a totally different manner. Right.
You should have what's called your non-negotiables. Okay. I'm looking for a spouse who has these qualities, whatever those qualities are. And if you run across for someone who doesn't possess those qualities, you've got to decide, is my non-negotiable, meaning I'm not going to negotiate this, or am I going to compromise on it? And then compromise, not with the intent to change them, but compromise because they have some other qualities and characteristics.
Say that again. Repeat what you just said.
Okay.
Brian.
Because they have some. You're looking for a spouse. You're dating with the mindset you're looking for a spouse.
Right.
That means you have some standards,
and you're not looking
you
to
have some qualities. You have some non-negotiables.
Right.
Now, if this person violates, or I won't say violates, but they don't have
don't check the boxes.
They don't check this particular box. Okay. And it's the non-negotiable box.
Right.
You have to make a decision. Is my non-negotiable truly non-negotiable? You mean that's it? If you check this box on this particular thing, I'm not, I know this is not going anywhere. I'm going to sever this relationship or change it just for fun. Or is this non-negotiable? Do you change it? Well, maybe I'm willing to compromise on this.
Well,
hold on. I think
sorry.
maybe this is where I got you, where I said, or why you interjected, is because I said in the compromise, you compromise not because you want to change that person.
There you go.
You compromise because you're willing to make that non-negotiable. Now you take it from the non-negotiable category column to the I'm willing to compromise on this.
I think in being happily single, what we still tend to do is we go in seeing red flags, but being happily single, we're trying to change a person. That struck me because, it's a lot. That right there is this elephant in the room. Well, you know what? This person got a small problem.
I can change them.
They're manipulative, but you know what? They love me and they care for me, and you know what? I'm going to accept that and deal with that. I don't think that's happily single. I think that there's a problem with you accepting that. That's how I view it.
Oh, okay.
I think there's a problem that you accepting something that is not on your long term, that can bring confusion to you and bring problems in your marriage or your dating, and you're accepting that. I think that you're still not healthy enough to actually be dating. If you're putting these areas of problems, if someone's deceptive, can't get around that. Yeah. And they have a problem with that. I can't go and say, hey, can you stop being so deceptive all the time? Yeah. Okay.
So your non-negotiable would be true that it's non-negotiable.
That's non-negotiable. Yeah. If the thing is that people can have bad behaviors. We all have bad behaviors. Yes. Okay. We all have them. I really do think that we should stop accepting, well, I got a bad behavior. I think I need to work on my bad behavior and not accept yours because I have one too. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. So you're gonna give them a pass on their bad behavior?
No, I'm not giving them a pass.
Okay.
If I'm willing to accept their bad behavior, it should be a review of what God is saying. Well, maybe there's something wrong with me for me accepting this bad behavior. Let's put this relationship on pause and let me go back and review myself of saying, why am I accepting something that I know long term is going to be affecting me in my relationship? Okay, so I think there's something still wrong with Zeke that needs to get cleared out. And if my bad behavior, if she's saying, hey, you know what, you have a bad behavior, this is your bad behavior, Zeke, you know what, then I need to work on that. Okay, can you give me an opportunity for me to work on that? Maybe we might need to not be as close in dating, and let me step aside and see if I can fix this problem. And if it's fixable, I'll come back to you later. What we tend to do is lock up, get into a relationship, and start accepting these, or saying, hey,
overlooking. That's not too much important.
I'm guilty of it.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I think, number one, I don't disagree at all. But I think there's a little nuance to be had here. I mean, so not all problems are the same in magnitude. Right. There are some that are very major, serious character flaws, and then there's others that could just be a work in progress, and that's okay.
Yes.
Like I think if every
which ones
character
are
flaw. So I mean, look, here it is. And
I want to know.
This is good. So if you're dating now and you're married, it doesn't matter what the relationship is. You're with another person. Do you have any problems? If you can say yes, then are you saying you should terminate that relationship? That doesn't make sense.
No, we're talking about dating though. We're not talking about marriage.
No, even in dating. But see, this is the thing. With dating, it's already understood moving in that this is a temporary situation. So the goal, and this is why I asked before, the goal of dating is not for me and you to be dating forever, here forever, hooked up, arm in arm, side by side forever. Unless we decide that we're getting married. Otherwise, it's just an exploration.
I want to throw something in there right quick. The average male knows the person that they're going to marry within 6 months of dating. The average female knows the person that she's going to marry within 12 months of marriage. 12 months of dating.
12 months. So the man 6 months?
Man is 6 months.
And the woman's 12 months.
Woman is 12
so
months.
The woman is taking longer? The man is taking shorter.
Shorter time. He knows that that person is his wife within 6 months of marriage. Or shorter.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Or shorter. And a woman can take up to 12 months.
So what does that mean for the actual dating situation?
Yeah.
Like, what it means is that I was just throwing that in there because you said you don't want to be in this forever, and I just threw that in there because there is no forever. A woman knows that this is the man. If you're 2 years, in it, she's you need to realize that she's not seeing that you are quality material if you're 2 years in and you're still dating. Now, I dated for 3 years. Okay, this was told to me by a therapist of these numbers. I agree with her because it wasn't something marriage was not ideal in me. Did I see things and overlook them? Yes, but I was trying while I was dating. Okay. I'm trying to fix them. I'm trying to go around it. I'm trying to make it better, and they'll get better temporarily to a point where, oh yeah, you know what, I can see myself with this person long term now because everything is going well. It's going, 2 weeks later, the wheel fell off, and I'm picking it back up. Yeah, well, you're the person that I want, and a healthy single will have the ability to bypass all of the fixer-uppers.
See, okay, I like that, what you're saying, because, and this is the thing we said before. If you, as an individual, first you have to be happily single.
Yes.
And so what that entails is the direction of your life. You have set these goals and things for yourself. And I think as an individual, if you set these strong goals, the fixer-uppers don't match your life. They won't match your life.
They won't match your
And
life.
so you won't even have to worry about that. But I think these fixer-uppers come along and we think we can work with it because we haven't figured out us. And so we're not really happily single. We're just saying
that's
we
exactly
are.
what I said. Yeah, that's what I said. We're saying, and we really, audience, if you are in a situation of dating and this is something that you are doing, going back and repeating situations, picking things up, trying to make it better, and the relationship is in an area where you're trying to repair, okay?
Reset, man. Just go ahead.
That's a bad relationship. And that could be to a point where you might not be happily single. You might need to work on, why are you allowing this to happen? Why are these things happening? I think we tend to utilize understanding ourselves, but we're pretty much trying to work with these things because we're alone.
All right, you took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, I would say that's not a happily single person. That's someone who's actually alone, and they're feeling lonely. And what's driving their decision is, I don't want to pass this opportunity up. I've got to grab onto him or her right now.
Yeah,
because I'm alone. Okay, and I don't know if I'm ever going to
be
get
alone
another.
forever.
I don't want to be alone forever. I don't
Right.
know if I'm ever going to get this other chance. You know, she does have. You know, she's got. Okay, she checks 3 out of my 10.
she robs a couple of banks at night, but that's
checks.
all right.
Right.
You know, she checks
one to
3 out of my 10.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going to go with her, or he checks 4 out of my 12, and so so that's why when you are dating, you've got to decide where you are dating. Are you good with right now just being temporary, or if you're looking for a spouse, then you've got to. If you are truly happily single, meaning you know yourself, then you've got an idea what you're looking for.
So I would say this. You know, this is a good I would say test for our audience. If you're in a relationship that you're trying to continue, if you're dating,
okay,
to understand whether or not you're happily single or you're alone, look at the dating status. Are you always trying to fix something in dating? Are you always trying to get it to a point of where you're happy? Then I would say you study your relationship and you can realize whether or not you are happily single or you alone in dating.
Ooh, alone and dating. Wow,
That sounds like trouble.
it sounds like reality.
It's reality.
It sounds like, and you know what? To be honest, I think one can waver between the two. I mean, you can be happily. I'm saying.
You think so?
I'm saying you are securing yourself, and you've got this roadmap, and you know your non-negotiables and what have you, and in a ideal situation, you're going to make the right decisions all the time. You're going to make the right choices, right?
Yeah.
Ideally,
Could
there be someone? Maybe they look the way that you want them to look, or they look beautiful or handsome, and you can be enamored by the outward appearance as opposed to what's
still
inside.
alone. You're even if you're looking at the beauty of it, I think that you're looking at something.
That's an attribute of being alone.
That's a natural attribute of being alone. I think a person who is in, like I said, I'm saying this from this age, a person who is happily single will be comfortable with themselves even in dating.
Yes. Okay.
If a person does not check off the boxes, and I
in other words,
if I had this knowledge in my 20s,
man,
I would probably either be single,
or
I will be with someone that will enhance what God is enhancing in me.
Okay.
Can I say this one thing?
There's no either or with
Okay,
that.
okay. I receive that.
I think I agree with your statement. I do want to say this though, and allow a little bit of grace, and that no one is perfectly secure.
We're not saying that.
No, I know
Yeah,
that, but
right.
I'm saying
Yes.
to what you said earlier. Even though you had a relatively good upbringing, you're relatively happy with your singleness.
Mm-hmm.
There could still be moments of doubt.
True
There
that.
could still
I
be
agree.
some wavering.
Sure.
There could still you might feel lonely,
yeah.
and then you might gravitate toward that person you shouldn't. Hopefully, if you have a good foundation, you wake up real quick and be like, okay, you know what, this ain't
This
ain't the thing.
Right.
You know, we gonna move on.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about this kind of sterile.
Yeah,
yeah. There's going to be some emotions involved.
Yes, sir.
So if love, I'm in love with this person. I love this person.
Don't do it, saints.
We hope you don't.
Right.
The emotions,
Our
Lord,
emotions can
run wild.
Can keep us from quote unquote making the right decision, and that's just real. That's just real. And I will say this: even if that happens, because we're dating, we're two imperfect people. Mm-hmm. Even if you're secure in your singleness, you're still imperfect. You're not perfect. You're not going to make the right decision all the time. These decisions aren't made in a vacuum, particularly if you have some feelings for this person that you're dating, and they have some of your non-negotiables. They've checked some boxes. Mm-hmm. Okay, you may still decide, even if they have that, I'm still going to marry them. Okay, and we'll work on it. We're going to work on it. I know that's why you did a deep breath. Yeah. Hindsight is 20/20.
Listen.
Hindsight is 20/20.
Now, we've all, some of us have went through divorce. Thank God, he's,
pray church,
happily married. But we're coming from all different types of areas. That's why I think this podcast is so important, because we're coming from divorce areas. We're coming from not being divorced. We're coming from marriage areas. I agree with what you're saying. A little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I think that marriage is a serious covenant. Mm-hmm. Getting to that marriage, getting to that altar, getting to what area that not only your spouse is holding you accountable for, but God is holding you accountable for as well. Mm-hmm. I think that being able to see your imperfections first, so therefore you can work on those imperfections. I think society is, everyone is this way. Let's just slosh this all together. I would agree with that back then, but now after listening to counselors, studying, asking God, what do you want from me? Show me my bad areas. Give me the insight to be able to fix this stuff. Mm-hmm. And then in him fixing it, it gives me areas to have my peace, to have the qualities of what God is asking me to be as a family man, as a person who's working with my children, spiritual. Our worship service has changed. How we look at life and family has changed. I want a woman that's going to come in and enhance that. Mm-hmm. I don't want a person that's going to come in and me saying, well, I got problems too.
You don't want them to come in and
disrupt that. You know what I'm saying? And then you're dealing with whether it's small or big, you're dealing with issues because of the emotional character of you are emotionally involved with this person. And now that person is coming in and kind of disrupting the flow of what God is asking you to do. That person is supposed to come in and enhance that. A leader, a prayer warrior, a family-oriented woman. If I get a woman that is more of like manipulative and or you get someone who can't really save money, they have these issues, and you're like, I'm just going to overlook that. You know, I'm going to overlook that. But then you're dealing with that.
It should be apparent though, right? Like if you are strong and where you are in your direction,
You-
when you come across that, it's going to be
You
staring
should
you right in the
recognize.
face.
And that's why I said you should know yourself well enough to understand if you are trying to accept these small things,
right.
then you should look at yourself again.
Yeah.
Go back to that mirror and look at yourself and say, you know, maybe I need to step back and see that I'm trying to fix what God is asking me not to fix, or what God is asking me. This is a direction. Now I'm pretty sure there's some areas where God might be like, hey, you know what? That's that person. And that person is willing to understand their role in the marriage, and they can go up to the par what they need.
Yeah. Well, that's why dating is important.
It is.
It's important. And when you are happily single and you're going into dating, you need to know what it is. What's your purpose for going into dating?
Yes.
Or you, I don't want to say recreational, but maybe you're not dating. What did I say?
No, I'm saying maybe it's exploration.
Explorational.
Yes,
I mean,
good.
and
That's a good
that's fine. But you should know where you are. Are you dating because you want to go out and what have you? That's nothing wrong with that. However, when you're dating for marriage, you should know what you're looking for. You should know what you're looking for. Can you summarize this discussion of dating while happily single? What are some takeaways that you could give to our audience?
Takeaways. Number one, know your direction in life.
Know your
That
direction.
is the biggest thing, and be solid on that as much as humanly possible. And then two, we talked about when you meet someone in a dating situation, and you know their life situation doesn't match up with yours.
Don't waste any time.
Don't question it.
Right.
We a lot of times, like you said, we waver. Oh,
Right.
but they got this. If something is telling you, if you got a question,
Deep
let it
inside,
go.
yes.
Let it go.
Let it
Let it go.
Just trust your gut.
Yeah.
Trust your gut.
God, number one. But then, you
Trust
got
God.
eyes.
Trust gut.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, it's just not the first thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Well, this is our podcast framework for the family. And we've been talking about dating while happily single. And we want you to subscribe to our podcast, Framework for the Family. And hit that like button, give some comments. And we'll see you next time. I hope this is Zeke Adams. And this is Brian Howard. Had a blank right there. With Framework for the Family. See you next time.
See you guys.